Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining this press briefing. It is the second briefing that we're having in this series of meetings that we are having. These are meetings of the African Union in conjunction with the regional economic communities and also the regional mechanisms as well as the member states. So today we are in the middle of the first statutory meeting, which is the meeting of the Executive Council. It is the 41st meeting of the Executive Council. And then the mid-year coordination meeting will then start on the 17th. So it is really wonderful to have you again. We were together yesterday, and so we want to welcome you to this press briefing. My name is Wayne Musabayana. I'm Head of Communication at the African Union Commission, and it is my pleasure to be talking to you in this beautiful country of Zambia. I am joined on this stage by His Excellency Professor Mohammed Belhocine, and he is the Commissioner at the African Union Commission, responsible for education, science, technology, and innovation. So today he has a very interesting topic, and I'm sure most of you are still within that bracket of making use of the innovation and the institution that he's going to be talking to us about today. It is one of the flagship projects of the African Union. You will be aware that the African Union has 15 flagship projects, and this is one of those projects, and it is a really critical one. So Professor is going to be talking to us about the Pan-African University. As usual, we will give him the chance to give us a brief on his topic, after which we then go into a question and answer section. And when we do get to that question and answer section, please indicate by raising your hand if you have a question to ask. And then when you've been asked to go ahead, please start by telling us your name and the news organization that you are representing, and then proceed with your question. I'm sure that is clear for all of us. So without wasting much further time, let me now call upon Professor Mohammed Belhocine for his brief on the Pan-African University. Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Winnie. Ladies and gentlemen, dear media professionals,
It appears the mic is off. We could check on the microphone of the speaker. Interpreters are not getting any sound. Thank you.
I think we should use this first.
Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing microphone. Yes. Okay, so welcome back to everyone. Our apologies about that break. We were having a slight technical issue, but that has been resolved. So thank you very much for staying with us. I had started introducing our panelist for today, and he's Professor Mohammed Belhocine, and he's the commissioner at the African Union Commission, responsible for education, science, technology, and innovation. And he will be giving us a brief on the Pan-African University. So I think that is a topic that is very exciting for many of you in here, as well as some people who are watching us from home. So without much further ado, let me now hand over to His Excellency, Professor Belhocine. It's over to you, Prof.
Thank you, Mr. Winnie. Ladies and gentlemen, dear media professionals, dear watchers of the TV, let me first start with thanking the government and the people of the beautiful Republic of Zambia for their warm welcome and for the excellent organization and conditions of work we are offered. I'm very pleased to be in your company, and most importantly, I'm very pleased to deliver this statement on the great strides made by the Pan-African University since its inception and operationalization. What is the Pan-African University? The Pan-African University was created following a decision of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union in July 2010 in Kampala, Uganda. The African Union Commission, following that decision, launched the Pan-African University as a flagship continental initiative in December 2011. This is a continent-wide university which offers postgraduate, meaning at the level of master and doctoral programs, with the aim of establishing an academic network of already existing postgraduate and research institutions and continuously injecting high-skilled human resources that will help spur the development of our continent, Africa. The Pan-African University became fully operational in 2012, with the first intake of students. Today, as we talk, the university has 4 institutes distributed across the continent. Namely, we have the one institute which deals with water and energy sciences, including climate change. This is the institute which is called PAWES, PAWES standing for Pan-African University Water and Energy Science Institute, PAWES. It's in Tlemcen in Algeria. We have an Institute of Basic Sciences, Technology and Innovation, which we call ESTI. It is in Juja in Kenya. We have an institute which deals with life and earth sciences, including health and agriculture. We call it Policy. It is in Ibadan, Nigeria. And finally, we have an institute which deals with governance and human and Social Sciences, which we call PAOGES. It is in Yaoundé, Cameroon. There is another institute, the fifth one, which is supposed to teach space sciences, and it is located in Cape Town, but it has not yet started for some technical reasons that we are trying to sort out. All these institutes, I mean the four which are operational, offer courses in specialties related to their area of focus. For instance, Paulisi in Ibadan proposes plant breeding and medicinal plant research trainings, which are forward-looking domains aiming at improving the quality of crops and using plants for health purposes. You see that the focus is really on African problems and with the aim of finding African solutions to African problems. Within the framework of their research works, students of the Pan-African University Institute for Science and Technology and Innovation, PAUSTI, which is in Kenya, based in Juja, have developed several inventions with patents also aimed at improving the quality of food and thereby providing adequate endogenous responses to local nutrition issues. So how do we enroll students in this Pan-African University? First, the number of applications received by the Pan-African University has increased significantly over the past 8 years. For instance, between 2017, 2018, and 2018, 2019 academic years, the number of students who applied to join the Pan-African University increased by almost 250%. We had, in 2018, 5,400 applicants, and we had 13,000 applicants the next year. Similarly, the number of applicants increased from 14,000 to 14,000 in 2021. So the students will get scholarships. Over the 2012-2021 period, from the beginning to last year, the Pan-African University awarded 2,600 scholarships for the students, you know. And among these, we have more than 800 females and the rest males. And the students come from 51 member states. That's the most important thing for me is that one, is that we are training people from almost all the African member states. We have 55 member states, and we have students from 51 member states. All African states are having some students studying in one of or the other of these four institutes, which means that the word Pan-African University is a real one, because we are having really people from all the continent. This number that I have mentioned of 2,600 breaks down into 2,000 masters and 600 doctoral candidates. With respect to the number of member states benefiting from the Pan-African University Scholarship Award, it increased gradually from 21 in 2013 to 53 in 2022, meaning that the more we go in time, the more countries are sending students. And let me tell you that the selection, because I mentioned the number of applicants, which is more than 10,000, the selection is very rigorous. We are taking really the best of the students of each country. And in doing so, we hope that we are really creating the elite of tomorrow, the leaders of the continent for the future. As I said, we have, if I look at the statistics that we have now, since the beginning of this university, more than 1,600 were graduated as at the master's level, and another 550 students rounded were, had passed their PhDs. Also, we have new programs depending, the university is evolving with enriching the programs it offers to students. For instance, this year, we launched a program on climate change, which is very modern, very new, climate change issues, climate change sciences at the level of PhD, which started in Tlemcen this year. And in the Pan-African University, education is not the exclusive focus of AU leaders. We are also interested in promoting research and innovation as part of the structural mission. We also give language courses to our students. Those who speak English will learn French. Those who speak French will learn English. And in the beginning of each academic year, students will benefit from three elements. One is the second is human rights training, and third is human rights. We also give them some skills in business and entrepreneurship, and they will receive also a training on Pan-Africanism and the history of Africa. So four elements: language, human rights, entrepreneurship, and Pan-Africanism. In this light, we urge our students and academic staff also to contribute to scientific knowledge and to Africa's advancement through their scientific reflections and technological innovation. So what are the products, what are the production or productivity of all this project since it started? So till now, we can count around 600 articles which were published by our students or our researchers in peer-reviewed papers, journals, and more than 9 patents were registered. We are encouraging our students to register patents when they have some kind of real innovation in the areas of which they are working. Most of the research works of PAO students fosters sustainable and quality agriculture on the continent. We have, at least in Kenya and in Ibadan, a lot of our students are having, research on issues related to agriculture. I will not go much in detail. Maybe I will just give you one example. For instance, we have a student who is working on some African cassava genotypes for carotene yield in cassava, and for making new types of cassava which resist the mosaic disease of cassava, which kills the crops if it is there. So these are some of the examples that I can give you related to the research of our students. I talked to you also already on entrepreneurial skills. With regard to entrepreneurship, it goes without saying that we get our students not only to nurture the entrepreneurial culture, but also to translate their hard-earned academic knowledge into feasible and productive developmental solution for the welfare of their native countries or of other African countries. This is the main reason behind the putting in place of entrepreneurship hubs in our various institutes. Our institutes are now, almost all of them, having entrepreneurship hub, meaning that when a student finishes their curriculum, they can still remain there. They will be accompanied, trained, and supported by their institute to be able to launch their own company if they wish so, or to make sure that they are doing the right work in terms of applying to jobs with the support of their teachers and their trainers. And as a higher education institute promoting quality and exemplifying excellence, PAO has recorded several alumni success stories. We can count one of our former students from Côte d'Ivoire, who has occupied the position of Deputy Regional Director for the Ivorian Electricity Company. We have another student from Rwanda who works in the International Center of Tropical Agriculture. A former student from Zimbabwe who is an engineer works at WASH, which is a bigger company. And last but not least, a former student from Burkina Faso is now the CEO of a big company called Salarcudo, and she was also selected for the Conference of the Women Entrepreneurs in Africa Project 2019, and was also shortlisted for the Africa Prize of Engineering Innovation in 2019. And this is a fellow lady from Burkina Faso. Just like these few alumni, PAO has trained thousands of students who are making it today in their respective countries on the continent and the world at large. Let me say that beside the fact that we are giving these programs, the fact that students from different African countries meet together and stay together for years creates a sense of belonging, creates the sentiment of we are all in the same ship and we have to navigate together. It creates the sense of peaceful discussions and better knowledge of each other's culture, each other's language, each other's habits, and we have even witnessed some marriages, some weddings between students coming from different countries, and that also creates the sense of Pan-Africanism that we were talking about. And also to help the Pan-African University strengthen its structure and acquire better cost effectiveness, relevance and utility, important actions were undertaken. At the level of infrastructure, for instance, the countries who host these institutes that I was talking about are offering infrastructure. Sometimes we are borrowing from universities in the countries, but as we go, we are being offered pieces of land and we are being offered buildings by the host countries. So for instance, in Kenya, we have now a complete separate building which hosts the PAOSTI. It's the same in Cameroon. They are building for us the rectorate because the rectorate of the whole university is in Cameroon. And a couple of weeks ago, I was in Cameroon, and we went and visited the site of works of the building of the rectorate, which we hope will be ready by 2022 or 2023. The same, I was in Algeria to visit our PAOES Institute in May, and when I was there, the government of Algeria offered a new building, brand new building, including with a dormitory for the students to make sure that the PAOES Institute works in better conditions in the University of Tlemcen. So does it mean that everything is beautiful? Because I am giving you like a rosy picture, which I believe is real, But at the same time, we have challenges as well, and we should also talk about the challenges. Such an important undertaking does not go without challenges. And PAO has some challenges, some of these challenges that the Commission is working to overcome as soon as possible. Let me just cite some of the most important challenges. One of them is the consolidation of the governance structure of this Pan-African University. For instance, the position of rector and vice-rector has been, vacant for a while now, and this fragilizes somehow the day-to-day management of such a big university. However, we have just launched a call for applications 1 month ago. And as I'm talking now, normally the deadline has expired, and we will be soon looking at all the applications, and we will be selecting a new rector and new vice rector for this university. Second big challenge, and you may expect it, is the financial sustainability. Such a big endeavor needs to be. We need to have more predictive funding mechanisms. And on this, we are working with many of our bilateral and multilateral partners, and mainly we will be engaging in discussions with the African Development Bank, which has supported the first steps of this Pan-African University, and we hope that they will support the second step, which will consolidate the governance, and which will help us also to recruit more permanent teachers, permanent staff, because this is one of the requirements needed if we are to overcome a third challenge that we have, which is accreditation. Because a university, if you want it to be well renowned, it has to be accredited. And for it to be accredited, it has to have at least to fulfill at least two conditions. One is assets. You must have assets. And that's why for us it's important that the governments give us pieces of land and give us buildings, because that will become the asset of the Pan-African University. And if we apply for an international accreditation, it is one of the requirements. And the second requirement is that you have to have permanent staff, full-time permanent staff, researchers or teachers. If you don't have permanently recruited teachers or researchers, you can't apply for accreditation. And so far we have been working mainly with part-time staff borrowed from the host universities or from abroad, but this is not enough to have the accreditation. So this is another challenge that we are working on to make sure that this very, very, very beautiful Pan-African project will go to a more consolidated institution that will remain there for the years to come, and that will absolutely certainly be the one of the manufacturers of the leaders of tomorrow. Amongst these alumni, I am pretty sure that in the next future years we will have some prime ministers, some finance ministers, some big CEOs of big national or international African companies, and that is the beauty of this project. I hope I have not been very long and not too bothering you with this. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm ready to take questions and to answer.
Thank you very much, Professor. That was a really fascinating presentation, and I think it is a topic that is really relevant to the journalists that we have here, but also to many other people at home who might be looking for the kind of opportunities that this university offers. All right, colleagues, now it is time for you to pose your questions. As we said at the beginning, just raise your hand if you have a question. If I see you and then ask you to speak, please let us know your name and your news agency, then you can shoot with your question. I may not really be able to see everyone at the back, So if you're raising your hand and you are covered by some of the colleagues in front and I cannot see you, please just go to an area where you are visible, where you are in my line of sight, and then we can call upon you to ask your question. All right, I saw someone raising their hand there. Normally, we like to take the questions in groups of 3. So if we have further questions, perhaps we can have that indication. Okay, let's go with the one gentleman.
Good afternoon. My name is Agrippa Chanda from Hot FM. I just want to find out, since the inception of the Pan-African University, is there any increase of Zambians who are pursuing studies at your university? If it's not, what is your advice in order for the Zambians to develop keen interest in pursuing the studies?
I didn't do my homework. I'm sorry to, to look at the number of Zambian students that have enrolled in the Pan-African University, but I'm pretty sure that there are a couple of Zambians that, that have enrolled in one or more than one of our institutes. Let me give you a little bit more details. So far, each of the institutes enrolls something around 100 plus students per year, meaning around 100 or 100, between 100 and 120 students per academic year. It means that the institute will have some kind of 400 students in total if we consider that the curricula takes 4 years and that for each year you have the generation that is already there in second or third year or fourth year of studies, and they enroll a new batch of 100 or 120. We also are very much, we're trying hard to have a good gender balance. It is not easy, but our institutes are trying very hard. Sometimes they could, in some places, they could reach almost 50% parity, but it is difficult to maintain every year because sometimes you have less applications from girls as compared to males, and even when we try to do like positive discrimination to give more chance to girls, we are not yet reaching the level of having 50%. Now, how to increase the number? I think the best way to increase the number is to have the best candidates. The more qualified they are, the more chance they have to get selected. But also, the institutes, the directors of institutes, are trying to keep balance between all the countries. And in this regard, for instance, the member states have advised that the host country cannot have more than 10 to 15% of students in the institute. It's not because the institute is in, say, Algeria, talking about my own country, so that nobody will blame me. So in Algeria, for instance, you will not find more than 10 to 15% Algerian students in that PAUES institute. The rest are coming from the other African countries. So these are some of the complementary element of information for you. I hope I have answered your question.
Okay, do we have any more questions? There's one hand here, another hand over there at the back. Let's start with the lady in front.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Doreen Chembetembo. I'm from Money FM. So I just want to find out if you have any intentions of setting up the Pan-African University in Zambia.
Okay. Let's have the second question at the back.
Thank you very much. My name is Nosiku Muyawa from Zanis. I would like to find out, since the university started in 2012, are you considering maybe in the future to include the cooperatives or to train our people in the rural, in the member states, those who are involved in cooperatives, so that they could maybe actualize the nutrition which is talked about during this summit? Since our our rural population, they really need a lot of training so that they can do the right things.
Excellent. Any other question? Is that a hand that is raised?
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Mary Mwekisa from Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation. It's heartwarming to learn about the Pan-African University. Over the years that we've been training people from the member states, has this translated into tangible economic development for Africa? I say so because of the reasons you gave us as to why this university was established. Because the last thing you want is to train people and then they go and apply this trade in, beyond Africa in other continents. Secondly, is it possible to maybe do more, give it more publicity so that many people can be aware of this university? I know this is one fora on which you are making it, making more people know about it, but I don't think many people, especially here in Zambia, know about this. Maybe certain circles know about it, but maybe those that may need these scholarships genuinely may not have much information on the Pan-African University and who qualifies and what criteria is followed to be given the scholarship. Thank you.
Commissioner?
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a project to have a Pan-African University in Zambia? I hope so, but let me just give you another maybe element of information that may clarify a little bit. When the member states decide, when the heads of states decided to create the university, they decided that there will be a hub, an institute in each of the sub-regions of the continent. So each sub-region, the countries of the sub-region decided amongst themselves where to put the institute of the Pan-African University. For instance, in East Africa, they decided it would be Kenya. For Southern Africa, they decided, SADC, Zambia is member of SADC, isn't it? So in SADC, they decided that it would be the space science in Cape Town. North Africa, they decided it will be Algeria, and Algeria decided it will be University of Tlemcen, which is a small city outside the capital, actually. And so on and so forth. And for West Africa, they decided it will be Nigeria, and Nigeria decided it will be in Ibadan. It's not even in Abuja, which is the capital of Nigeria. And finally, Central Africa has the rectorate in Yaoundé and the governance and the humanities and social sciences in Yaoundé as well. So that's how it works. Another element that when you give a brief like this, you can't go into all the details. But let me tell you that, for instance, because of the fact that students coming from different countries gather in one single place, when they come to do research, many of them go back to their own countries. And in doing so, sometimes it creates like a double framing of the research by a co-directing of the research by the trainer in the Pan-African University, and sometimes with a link with one of the universities of different countries. So it creates, as we go, we are witnessing, creation of networks of researchers or of teachers that happen to know each other because they are co-directing the work of one of the students. For instance, a student from Benin is in Yaoundé, and when she or he will come to do his research for graduating in his PhD, he will go back home, take a problematic of his own country, and it will be co-directed by one of the institutes he studied in his own country, for instance, plus the director of research in the Pan-African University. It creates linkages, triangular linkages, and this is also something that is very interesting in terms of learning to work together in our African academic institutions. So that is on Pan-African University in Zambia. Questions on cooperatives. Directly, no, because directly, as I have mentioned, you have to have students who apply and who go through like absolutely traditional curricula of studies related to the areas of focus. And the areas of focus were also selected by the member states with regard to strategic areas of development in Africa. However, through the research again, and I was in Ibadan and I saw this, the example that I mentioned to you for cassava, which is done in Ibadan, is really directly linked to the complaints raised by the farmers themselves. And there is an institute in Ibadan of agriculture which works closely with our policy institute, and they work directly with the farmers. They try to solve problems that are brought to their attention by the farmers themselves. So they work really at the grassroots level, and if the farmers come and say, this year our crop is completely destroyed, we don't know why, then the researchers will go, will do their research, will do their experiments, will diagnose the reason why the crop has died, and find a solution to that. And they are doing this really on a quite large scale basis. And this institute, which is called the International Institute of Agricultural Research or something like that, in Ibadan, it's not the Pan-African University. It's a parallel work, but they help our students to do their research, and our students help them to broaden the scope of their interventions. So that's how I can answer your question of being, working with those who are in the field. Yes, that work is being done as much as possible by our student and our Pan-African University. Mary Makisa, your question on tangible economic development is difficult to measure. Honestly, it's difficult to measure. How can you measure what is the impact of the training of University of Zambia in terms of economic development globally? The only thing that you can do is to try to track what's the fate of your students when they graduate. Where are they? Where do they go? What are they doing? So we are trying to do that tracing. It's not easy. We're trying to do it. Is even more so difficult that you have to reach 51 countries, But at the same time, when we look at some of our alumni with what they are doing, and they are coming back to us, and they are doing publicity for their fellow citizens to go and apply for the Pan-African University, it's an indication that at least we are contributing, and we are contributing really globally at the continental level, not only at one country's level or something like that. More publicity, you would be surprised that you don't hear from it like this. I'm sure many of you didn't know that the Pan-African University exists. But I was surprised when I visited the institutes and I talked to the students. I have, interaction with students like this. I go amongst themselves and I listen to their questions and answer to their questions. And I always ask them the question, how did you happen to learn about this? And most of them learn about this, either it's peer information, one of their, friends or whatever heard about it and applied and got the scholarship, and then they inform. The other one is social media. Most of the students are getting information through social media. We send information every year to the governments, but that goes through the diplomatic channels, etc., etc. And the dissemination of information, as you know, is not always very well done in our countries, due to a lot of competing information, due to some kind of bureaucracy, due to some, I don't know, but it doesn't work as well as work the social media. On the social media, you will find the Facebook page on Pan-African University. You will find a website on Pan-African University, and all the information that I have given you here, you can find it in those. We have a Facebook, we have YouTube, we have, and we have a website at the African Union website. There is a page on Pan-African University. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's take our last round of questions if we have them. Do we have any further questions? Perhaps hands that I cannot see, which are in the back? No. All right. So, Professor. Okay, Professor, if we don't have any more questions, perhaps I could just put one of my own very quickly.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, then I will. Okay.
All right. How much does it cost?
You are tricking me here. I don't have my...
I'm sure that we have members of the audience,
Yeah,
at least those
yeah,
in their homes,
Yeah.
who probably are thinking this is a good opportunity, but how much would I have to pay to send my child?
So far, most of the students, to my knowledge, have scholarships. So they are covered by the scholarship. It's a merit-based enrollment. When you are enrolled, you have scholarship. Scholarship covers for your tuition fees and your stay in the place you are. I'm afraid I will give you a wrong figure. I had it, but I forgot it. Yeah. So that's one. And second, just my assistant was reminding me that we launched the call for applications very recently. So if there are some young students who graduated from university, then they can just apply and they can try their chance. If they have it, they will be part of one of the institutes. The call for application is on Facebook and is on the website. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of the questions. I don't see anyone else indicating the desire to ask a question. So, Prof, maybe I could just ask you if you have a few key points that you want to reiterate that our audiences can take away from the briefing today.
I think the first one is the beauty of this project, which started from scratch and which brings together students from almost the whole continent. It creates more than only giving skills to people. It creates the human feeling of being all Africans, of being all in the same ship. If the ship dives, we disappear with it. If the ship makes it to the nice harbor, then we will all be on the same ship. This is more than only academic training. It's also about that sentiment, and that is a very, very valuable project that needs to be strengthened, that needs to be reinforced, and needs to be given all the means to succeed. And amongst those means, sustainable funding, strong governance, and also sustainable efforts to be accredited. These are the three main messages that I could give you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you for having been with us. And let me thank His Excellency Professor Mohammed Belhocine, who is our commissioner at the African Union Commission, responsible for education, science, technology, and innovation. So that was our press briefing for today, but tomorrow we will have more, and Molalet will make sure that that information comes to you in the media centers, but also on your emails if you've registered them, and also on your SMS messaging if you have given him your telephone number. But if you're not sure, just go to the media center and there will be notices of upcoming events. So I hope that we will meet again tomorrow. And for those of us watching from home, as well as those watching online, join us again tomorrow at a time to be advised. Thank you so much, and bye-bye for now.